You will notice in this finished example, all of my painted bottles have been cut out, and now they are sitting on what looks like a table or a shelf. In this video, I'm going to take you through the steps to get your bottles onto the background.
To make this happen, you are going to need to get a pair of scissors, a bottle of glue. This painting will need to be dry, and, of course, your background ready to go.
There, all dry. I recommend that if yours is not quite dry enough to cut out right now, that you go grab the hairdryer and get it dry, because we need to move on.
You are going to begin by very carefully cutting out the entire group of bottles. You, of course, want to cut very slow, and of course, you want to stay on the line. You do not want to cut off the black line completely. I think if you cut right down the middle, that would be good. That way you still have a little bit showing, and you will not have any white paper left around the outside of those bottles. Here is something that I do sometimes to kind of give me a little shortcut. Not a shortcut, just to make things a little bit easier, is I will just cut off the background, that big white floppy part that's always in the way. I'm just trimming at first, and I will come back and get all of those remaining white areas off of my paper. Now, here I want to show you how to handle if you have a white space that is within your bottles. See, this is hooked together right here, which means that this white space I can't get to with my scissors. And I'm going to show you a very easy and simple way to do that. It is much easier than you may think. I am actually just going to cut in between the bottles. I'm going to stay on the line. I'm going to cut them where the blue and the violet were hooked together. I just cut it apart. I get down inside this area. I cut out that white space. It does not matter that those areas that were once connected are now separate, because nothing has been removed from my bottles. And when I glue it onto my background, they will be glued right back together the way they were. You want to be very sure that there is no white space outside of your bottles. If you're in a hurry, or perhaps the cutting is tricky and you leave some white edging outside, that's going to not be good craftsmanship. So if you go back and see some, you need to make sure that your scissors go back and trim it all the way to the line. Now, once your bottle group is cut out, now notice, they are all still attached. When you cut this out, nothing should fall away except for the scraps. Everything else should stay connected. Now we're ready to simply glue it on to our textured ground. When you made this video, we talked about this being a shelf or a table, and this is the wall behind it. And so now our vases or bottles are going to go into or onto that floor or shelf or table or whatever it is in your mind. Just about like this. It is important that everything stays on the paper. So if something is sticking off, then you need to make sure it comes back down. Same for the bottom. Don't let anything hang down. And you do want to make sure that you have about the same space on both sides, not clear over here or clear over here. Get that composition centered. When you know where you want this to be, then it's ready for some glue. You do not need a ton of glue on this, but you do need to have glue. All of these little things are going to flip and wiggle and be floppy, you want to make sure you have glue around the perimeter. So I'm going to put a little glue inside every mouth of my bottle, which is that oval that I drew when I was drawing the top. I'm going to put glue in the bottom of every bottle, which is the oval that you drew at the bottom. And then I'm going to make sure that just the sides, the outer side on the left, the outer side on the right, and then any other sides that I can see that are long, like that one and that one. Here's a spot, here's a little spot, here's a couple. Like I said, not a ton of glue. I did not put any glue in the middle, in this big area. You just don't need it. Now I'm going to flip this over. Remember where I had planned for it to go? And set it on there. Now, I've told you this before, I'm sure. When you glue painted paper onto other painted paper, it is stubborn. So you now have to just hold and hold and hold and hold until all parts of this bottle group are staying down. That ought to do it. Believe it or not, there is only one step left and this project will be done.